Hi, I'm Muriel Hamlyn. I'm a member of the Lake Country Co-op. I work at the Paddockwood store. I've been there since 2015. I myself spent 10 years in the Air Force in peacetime. My brother was a fighter pilot in Bosnia and Croatia. I had a father and 3 uncles served in World War II, and my grandfather served in World War I. He fought in many battles, the Somme, Vimy Ridge, and so forth. In April of this year, I went to Ottawa to honor the veterans who served in World War I and who, specifically, those who fought and died at Vimy Ridge. Up until that time, all the Canadian divisions had been part of the British Army. And when they went to Vimy Ridge, the Canadians said, we will take the ridge, but we will do it as Canadians, not as British. So all 4 Canadian divisions, 100,000 men in total, with Canadian commanders, proceeded to train for this battle. And on Easter of 1917, the Battle of Vimy Ridge began. And they won, where previous attempts had failed. It was significant simply because this was the first time that Canadians had fought as Canadians, and it was the beginning of the emergence of Canada as a nation separate from Great Britain. So in April of this year, I was asked to be part of the delegation that went to Ottawa to honor these men, the 3,600 men who died and the 7,000 that were injured at Vimy Ridge. And I was very honored to be asked to do so. There were 50-some delegates altogether, counting caregivers, and 26 youth volunteers. We had a candlelight ceremony to honor these veterans. And one of the things that really impressed me was that they had pictures of the memorial that's actually at Vimy, and they superimposed it over the one that was in Ottawa. We actually went through, and when the War Museum, they actually did an exhibit to show what the trenches were like. They had an actual trench built, and they made this trench wide enough to be wheelchair accessible, which means this trench wasn't that wide to begin with. And this is where the men ate and slept, had hours of intense boredom followed by hours of sheer terror. And they were cold, wet, hungry, dirty, but very courageous. My grandfather went into the war aged 34, married with a young son, and came out at age 40, an invalid. My grandfather was one of the wounded at Vimy Ridge. He carried the wounds of that battle all his life. He carried the shrapnel on his back. Grandpa lived to be 85, so he lived a good life. To me, he was just my grandpa, and I loved him. And you know, you don't think about it when you're young or a child, about what he must have gone through. And going to Ottawa to this service, going through this exhibit and seeing what they must have gone through was very enlightening and very eye-opening. To think that my grandfather survived that is something. When so many young men didn't, it's something special to be remembered.